This John Cena Randy Orton Backlash main event match was not only a wrestling match, it was a storytelling match. It was an entertainment match. This match was more than a wrestling match. Now I'm going to go a little personal here, folks. A little bit. GB's going a little personal here. Little GB's, right? Going to the Allstate Arena outside of Chicago, Rosemont. You know, my parents took me to the Allstate, seeing the debut of John Cena, right? The Ruthless Aggression. I was there, right? I check out my official website, IntoTheSquareCirclePodcast.com. I posted a photo not that while ago of the physical program book and the physical match card of that night. And I was there for John Cena's debut. Ruthless Aggression. Being part of Randy Orton's career as well. Seeing Randy, I think Randy Orton's on that card. Ah, shit, man. I have this thing buried. Hold on here. So, okay, here we go. Shit. This is it right here. And this tells you I'm not bullshitting you guys. And I'm putting this video on YouTube. Well, this is not the program book. There's another one in there. But again, a very young Randy Orton on the front cover, right? Chris Jericho. And you look on the other side, a very young John Cena, Ruthless Aggression on the SmackDown side, JBL. What year is this? This program book came out 2004. So, Eric Bischoff, the general manager, right? You see here in the program book, Eric Bischoff, like Batista, man, part of that class, the John Cena, Randy Orton class. It's incredible to be part of these guys' career. Look at Paul Heyman. Back in 2002. Okay? Right? Hide and rake. Teddy Long was the general manager. Saying, "Hello, The Undertaker, player." Eddie Guerrero, The Undertaker, The Big Show, Orlando Jordan. What the hell happened to him? Anyway, Mark Jindrak, Danny Basham, Tori Wilson, Dawn Marie, Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin. That was the OVW class. John Cena, Randy Orton, which they talked about, again, story on Backlash. Again, as a fan, to witness both of these guys in their prime, WWE prime, it's a complete honor. And I kind of watched this live on television because, I know, again, recording here in the mean streets of Chicago, 4 hours south of here in St. Louis. Tickets a little pricey. I got busy schedule, family man, and it's kind of hard, right? It's kind of hard to go down there, but that's more of a nostalgia, right? Randy Orton, John Cena, one more time, right? One final time in the ring. And, this had a great story, right? Great story, a lot of false finishes, Randy Orton, let's talk about that. Randy Orton, incredible. His RKOs, which are memorable, right? They make memories, right? Out of nowhere, RKOs. Okay, pretty cool. I love Randy Orton's RKOs, just the pitch perfect. But on Backlash, the main event, they did something that was unique. That was different. Something maybe I never saw on television or in a person before. If you watched it on Saturday night, John Cena had the attitude adjustment, right? He picked up Randy Orton, ready to do the attitude adjustment, right? The attitude adjustment, ready to drop him on his back, right? What happened was, in the process of lifting Randy Orton like this, Randy Orton had his arms around John Cena's neck and transitioned that into a RKO. Wow. That's something I've never seen before. We've seen a lot of crazy, out of nowhere, like split second, right on the money RKOs from Randy Orton. Insane ones. This was different. This one's a little different. I mean, obviously, trying to go a little bit easy on Cena. Hollywood star, trying not to mess up the face, break any bones. But that was a perfect, because I didn't notice it until, Michael Cole said something, and they did a slow-mo of the RKO, right? From the attitude adjustment. That was awesome. Awesome. John Cena gave his, one final time 5-knuckle shuffle in the St. Louis crowd. Of course, my least favorite spot's the ref bumps. It went down 3 times in the match. Man, 3 times of no referee, right? I'm like, here we go. First ref bump. I'm waiting for Cena to kick him in the balls. I'm talking about Cena, pow! Right on the right between the legs of Randy Orton. Which happened, I believe, later on in the match. Right? And the referee go down again, and out comes another referee. And of course, the third time, right? Eventually, out comes all the backstage producers. Out comes Nick Aldis. Like, oh, okay, we got to check on the ref. This is the third time it happened. Like, come on, Randy. Come on. See, Randy Orton's like, man, screw this. RKO'd and took down every single producer, agent, and Nick Aldis himself. And, despite of all that happening, there's still no referee. You take out all the guys in suits, but there's still no referee at the very end. Eventually, R-Truth got involved, man. Like, oh my God, R-Truth gets involved. And I think what happened was Randy Orton was ready to punt John Cena right in the head, right? The Legend Killer punt in the head. R-Truth came out of nowhere, got involved. Randy Orton's like, dude, what the F, dude? What the F? Why do you get involved? What happened? Well, Randy Orton took care of business by getting rid of R-Truth. He's like, I'm sorry, dude, but why are you getting involved in this match? And I believe the low blow spot happened, right? Pow! Right in the kisser. And, Cena covered and pinned Randy. Referee got unconscious, crawled to the both of the guys. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. John Cena walks away. Retain the undisputed WWE champion. Of course, John Cena cut a promo at the very end of the match. And he's like, all right, I beat Orton. Now it's time to have real competition. I need a competition. So whoever's out there ready, come get some. So very interesting, huh? Who's gonna go toe to toe with John Cena, of course? And it's not a lot of guys out there in the main roster who could go and match up against John Cena, right? This is pretty much getting close to the end of the Ruthless Aggression era, right? We've been getting a lot of this is the end of the era. End of the era. Every 2-3 years we have an end of an era, which is pretty much the Attitude Era, right? The Undertaker's gone. Austin's gone. The Rock is, The Rock shows up when he wants to. DX, will get together time to time if they want to. Kane will show up. The Undertaker, these guys will show up, but that era is pretty much wrapped up. Now we have the Ruthless Aggression era, the early 2000s, the OVW class. Going to be eventually wrapping up their era, right? Cena's going to call it quits. Boston, Massachusetts, the Boston News announced that they're going to, they talked about that being the final spot for his final match. So Cena's going to be out the window pretty soon. Randy Orton discussed in his documentary about, hey, man, I don't know how much longer I have. So we don't know how much longer we have Randy Orton. Shelton Benjamin's still kicking ass in AEW. Still looks great. Bobby Lashley looks great. So there's an X amount of guys out there as part of that class, the Ruthless Aggression era, that's still kicking it around today. So, this era is about to close up their chapter. So it was a special nostalgic night. I kind of predicted Cena was going to win. It was emotional for Cena because they did a up-close camera footage of Cena, fans were chanting, thank you, Cena. Cena realized this is his final time with Randy Orton in the ring. It was emotional for him. You could tell he soaked it up. You could tell he was trying not to, you know, show his emotion on his face. He held it in much as he can, but man, when deep inside your mind is your final time with Randy Orton in the ring, and a guy who's been part of your career since day one, that's emotional. That is emotional, and now we move on forward to his as his days get lower and lower as he move on forward towards his retirement match, and what's next for his competition, right? CM Punk, maybe. Roman Reigns, maybe. At the right time, the returning Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. I don't know, man. There's X amount of guys out there that's main event talent, either on the same class as Cena, or someone's a little bit bigger on this, this next generation, but there's not a whole lot of guys out there, man, who could match up John Cena. So, very interesting. We got Money in the Bank right around the corner. We got Night of Champions, was I believe John Cena was featured in the promo. And also CM Punk as well. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. But Cena walking away, defeating Randy Orton in his hometown, St. Louis, it was a very special storytelling match.